Hey guys, so welcome to part 4 of the SHSAT 2019-2020 test. So let's get started. We're on question 80. Alright, so we have a table showing fruit sold at store XYZ. So basically a total of 50 fruits are being sold, and we have the number of each fruit sold. And then we're not told explicitly the number of peaches sold. So we're being asked peaches made up a certain percentage of the total number of pieces of fruit sold at store XYZ. And we need to calculate this percentage basically. So we can calculate the number of peaches by saying we know that there are a total of 50 fruits sold. We know the number of the other fruits sold. So to get the number of peaches, we just take the total number of fruits sold and we subtract the total number of fruits sold except for peaches, which we can just get by adding the other fruits together. So this is going to be 50 minus, and then we add this stuff in parentheses together to get 32, I think. So 14, 26, yeah, 32. So we know that there were 18 peaches that were sold. So to get the percent, we're just doing 18 over 50, right? So 18 over the total times 100. So we can see that this 150, we can simplify this to 1 and 2. And so this is going to be 36%. So that would be G. Okay. So 81, carpenters laid a layer of insulation 6 inches thick to cover a rectangular attic floor that was 32 feet long and 20 feet wide, right? Okay, so we have this basically attic floor, and we're being told that the dimensions of this floor are 32 feet long and 20 feet wide. And basically we're covering this whole thing with like a vertical layer of insulation, right? So we're adding sort of like another dimension, right? Because we're coating this floor with insulation. Okay, and this third dimension is going to be 6 inches. And then we want to know what the volume is in cubic feet of the insulation used to cover the floor. So basically we just need to find like the volume of this cube, right? Because we're covering it with insulation over the whole area, so that kind of adds like a third dimension. And the first thing that we should notice is that, well, the length and width of the cube are in feet. The height is in inches, right? So we know that 6 inches is just 0.5 feet. So we need to make that conversion, because if we don't, then we try multiplying them together, the dimensions, we're going to get something that's off. So now we just need to remember the formula. So I'm going to do this work actually down here, and then I can erase it. So we know that the volume is going to be length times width times height. So the volume is going to be 32 times 20 times 0.5. And this is all in feet. That's very important. So this is just going to be 32 times 10, which is 320 cubic feet. So that would be B. So that's the volume of insulation used. Okay. So now we're going to go on to 82. So we have a town that covers an area of 50 square miles. And in 2005, it had a population of 84,000, whereas in 2006, its population decreased, so that the average population per square mile was equal to this. And then we want to know what that decrease in population was from 2005 to 2006. So I'm going to make a population table. So we have the year, and we have the population. Okay, and we know that basically in 2005 the population was 84,000, And then in 2006, we're not explicitly told the population, and we're just being told that the population per square mile is 1,500. So we need to say that we can't just say that the population is 1.5K, right? Because it's 1.5K per square mile, so it's per mile squared. And so in order to get the total population, we basically need to take into account that this town is 50 square miles. So we're going to do this 1.5K per mile squared, right? That's the per mile, that's the per square mile population. And we're going to multiply it by the area of this town, which is 50 square miles, right? So that's the total population. And so these units cancel out, and we're left with the total population, which is, so it's 50 times, and then 1.5 can be written as 3 over 2. And then this 2 becomes a 1, whereas this 50 becomes a 25, right? So we're just dividing by 2 on both sides, and this is 75,000. So we can replace this sort of like cryptic population per square mile with just a general population of 75,000. So we see that from 2005 to 2006, the population dropped by this amount from 84 to 75. So that's a drop of 9,000 people, right? So it's 9,000 people left this town. Okay. So now we're going to go on to 83. So we have a certain number line here, right? So we have a number x and a greater number y, and then the sum of these two numbers is going to be even greater than either of them. So we're being told basically we want to know the value of y, right? And right now the value of y is a variable. We don't really know it off the top of our heads, so we need to set up some equations to figure out this value of y. So the first equation that I can think of is that we're being told right here that x plus y is equal to 24. So x plus y is 24. That's our first equation. And then secondly, we know sort of that the difference between y and x is 4, right? They're 4 apart on the number line. And so we can say that y minus x is going to be 4. Now it wouldn't be appropriate to say that x minus y is 4. This would be wrong, because since y is larger than x, right? So this difference would actually be negative 4, right? Like, because let's say like x was like 6 and y was 10. If you tried doing like 6 minus 10, that would be negative 4 instead of positive 4. So we need to take into account that y is going to be greater. So to take the difference between them, we're saying y minus x is equal to 4. So this is not correct. So we're not going to use that. So now we have our like system of equation, and we want to know the value of y here. So we can just add these two equations together, and what's going to happen is that x plus minus x, that the x's are going to cancel out, right? So we can just like sort of like cross them off, and then we have y plus y, so that's 2y is equal to 24 plus 4, so 28, and then y is going to be 14. So that's the value of y. Okay. So 84. So we have some numbers, right? So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 22. Okay, so we're being told we have a set L, which is not shown, and it's a list of 25 consecutive integers. Okay, so the median of the integers in set N, this is set N, is equal to the least integer in set L. So let's break this down. Let's actually find the median of N, right? So the median is sort of like the number in between So like half of the numbers are less, half of the numbers are more. So the median of this list of consecutive integers can be found basically by taking the average of the least integer and the greatest integer, right? We want to find sort of the average. Now the average isn't always the median, but given that these numbers are consecutively spaced, in this case it probably will be, or it'll be close. Actually, yeah, it will be the median. But only because these numbers are consecutively spaced. Otherwise, the mean isn't necessarily equal to the median. So this is 14. That's our median, and so that median is equal to the least integer in set L. So set L starts with 14 apparently, and we're also told that set L is a list of 25 consecutive integers. So it's going to go 14, 15, 16, etc. And then up to, it's going to actually go up to, it wouldn't be 14 plus 25, so it wouldn't be 39, because this would, if it were to go to like 39, this would actually be 26 integers, right? Because you can think about it, let's say it went up to 16, right? So the difference between 14 and 16 is 2, but it's actually 3 integers. So it would actually be up to 38, right? And we can see this by we're doing 38 minus 14 plus 1. We always have to have that plus 1. So this would be 25. Right, so we're sort of doing 14 plus 25 minus 1, and this is due to the, peculiar property that the difference is not the difference between the largest and smallest numbers isn't necessarily the number of items in our set. So sort of tricky, but yeah, that's a little bit of nuance. And then we want to know what the median is of the integers in set L. So again, we can take the average of the lowest and highest values, which in this case works. So we're going to do 14 plus 38 over 2, which is, it's going to be 52 over 2, and that's 26. So that would be F. And then let's do our last question. So I'm just going to erase some of this. Okay. So the sum of the numbers x, y, and z is 40. So x plus y plus z is 40. The ratio of x to y is 1 over 2, right? So we know the x to y is 1 over 2. And y to z is 2 to 5. And we want to know what the ratio of y is. Or sorry, the value of y. So basically what we're going to need to do is we have this sort of like first equation. So we're going to need to get one of the variables. We're going to need to get two of the variables in terms of the other variable. So we want to have like x plus something plus y in terms of x plus z in terms of x. So I'm just going to express y. So my goal is to express y in terms of x and z in terms of x, because then I can add this all together in terms of x and solve for x. Actually, I could do that, but it's not the most direct route because we're trying to solve for the value of y. So I'm actually going to work on expressing x in terms of y and z in terms of y, because then I can solve for y. So if I'm solving for x in terms of y, the first thing I'm going to do, if I don't really know what I'm doing, I'm just going to cross multiply this, right? So I know from this that 2x is equal to y. So I've expressed y in terms of, I've expressed y in terms of x, but I want x in terms of y. So if I divide both sides by 2, then I'm going to get x is equal to 1/2 y. Right, so I'm expressing x in terms of y. So I've done the first one. And then if I want to express z in terms of y, let me cross multiply. So I get 2z is equal to 5y. And then I want to isolate z. So I'm solving in terms of y. So I get z is equal to 5/2y. So I've expressed z in terms of y. That's my second one. Now let me erase some stuff so that I can, so I'm going to erase the original stuff so that I can do the remaining computation. So now I have everything in terms of y. So x is equal to, so now I'm just going to do this addition basically. So x is equal to 1/2 y, and then plus y, plus z, which is 5/2y, and this is equal to 40. Right, so now I'm going to basically add the coefficients in front of the y. So I have 1/2 plus 1 plus 5/2. So 1/2 plus 5/2 is 6/2, which is just 3, plus 1, so that's going to be 4y is equal to 40. Right, so just adding like terms, and then dividing both sides by 4, we get y is equal to 10. So that would be D. Okay, and we'll continue with 86 in the next video, part 5.